Welcome to Geek News Now live. This is the second time we've gone live on this channel. I'm very excited to be talking to the two gentlemen I have with me today about the past year in review. We're just going to talk about all the craziness, all the bad and the good, because there has been both, surprisingly enough.
Yes, sir.
It's been... There's a lot it's been nuts. It's been crazy out there, but I think the dumpster fire kind of like epitomized. Everyone's been, it's a mess, but it will keep you warm in the cold. So there's that, silver lining, I guess. Anyway, welcome to Geek News Now Live. My name's Chris. I run the YouTube channel here and make those great Mandalorian Easter egg videos and the music videos and mashups that I know you enjoy so much. And let my co-hosts introduce themselves. Stage right. There we go.
Hi, I'm Damon Roth. I'm one of the new additions to Geek News Now. Currently, right now, I do pieces for our YouTube channel. My favorite one so far is the Fats Vet one. If you haven't checked it, go on there after this show. Check out all of our stuff. But I'm going to be getting a podcast coming hopefully the second week of January. It's going to be called the Chronicles of Geek, and it's going to explore issues and topics about geekdom from a different different point of view. Looking from it from like kind of folks that are behind the scenes, may not be the main actors, may not be the main folks that you would see doing the things, but kind of from there. Sorry, my phone distracted me. One thing you forget to turn off.
I'm actually definitely looking forward to that, because some of those best behind the scenes kind of stories come from those people who are like there, but it's not like they're the director, so no one's necessarily interviewing them. But it's like, oh yeah, I held the boom mic on this one show, and here's all the inside scoops, and it's like, what? So that's awesome.
Where I'm from in Canada, Victoria, we actually do a lot of productions, mostly for Hallmark movies. What can you do? But a lot of other stuff as well, including The Twilight Zone.
Oh,
us in Vancouver were the locations for The Twilight Zone the last season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to that coming in the future from Damon. And William, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hello, everyone. My name is William D. Morgan, and I am the host of the Geek Gauntlet podcast right here on GNN. I'm also new. I got a few episodes up on GNN YouTube page, other places as well. We talk about all the news, the events, everything that goes down in the world of geek, from the Arrowverse to Cyberpunk 2077 to movies, everything that is in the world of geek. We tackle it all within pretty much an hour. So definitely join us every Saturday night, the Geek Gauntlet podcast.
Awesome. So we're looking forward to all of that coming in the future. But now I guess we can take a step back and let's talk about this past year. It's been pretty crazy.
Yes.
To say the least. Like so many things got put on hold, delayed. Movies, for one thing, that's something I'm hugely a fan of, and a lot of people are, especially now with like Marvel setting up their established universe, everything that's happening there. People were excited to like get more into that, even though like Black Widow was really the only main Marvel movie scheduled for this year, but still that got pushed back. Wonder Woman got pushed back. They only just released that, and it's getting... Wonder Woman's having a hard time here at the end of 2020. William, I think you were saying earlier you think it's getting an unjust amount of hate because you've seen it. We're not going to spoil anything right now, but we're just going to get a quick some people are still looking forward to it. I've seen it. I mean, I think it's worth checking out. It's not. I wouldn't say. I've seen people saying that. I wouldn't say that. It's definitely got some problems, but I think it was an enjoyable movie. It's better than some of the other DCEU entries, for sure.
Oh yeah.
William, what did you think of it?
I think it just gets a lot of unwarranted hate. I just think people are looking at it. They're looking at it from more of a not a theatrical view, but more of a political view. And I just think that's wrong. Gal Gadot portrays the role perfectly, in my opinion. And I just think it gets a lot of unwarranted hate. Yes, the movie has some problems, but there's no perfect movie. There hasn't been a perfect movie that's been a 10 out of 10 for a long while. Even if you give her a perfect 9, it's still not perfect. So I just think it gets a lot of unwarranted. It's gotten a lot of unwarranted hate. I wish I would have took the approach Damon took. Wait until all the critics died down or whatnot and then watched it. But it's just got a lot of unwarranted hate, in my opinion. I really think it's a lot better. I think it's more of a 7 out of 10. Then people are giving it 3s, 4s. Some people give it 0s.
Yeah.
I just feel that that's not right and it's unwarranted. And if you listen, and again, this is just rumor and conjecture. If you look at it, they're already talking Wonder Woman 3. So if 2 was that bad, why even come out with a 3?
Well, eventually, we're going to have an in-depth conversation on what actually happens in the movie, because that's where the Wonder Woman 3 conversation comes to. As far as Wonder Woman 2 is concerned, I think, like you said, some of the hate is unwarranted. I could see why I could see where the movie has flaws and things like that. But there's definitely, like you said, it does have a political, and I'm not saying it's like a huge political message or anything like that, but there are comparisons that can clearly be made. But at the same time, when I first was watching it, I was like, okay, I see what those comparisons are. But then by the end of the movie, I was thinking, wow, I really enjoyed Pedro Pascal's performance and the character arc there. And wow, I really enjoyed, Gal Gadot, even though there were some things but I don't want to get into it because again, spoilers.
Right, spoilers.
But, but again, like you said, no movie is perfect, but it was like, wait, it's better than Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? Like, it's better
yes.
It's so for the people giving it like 0s, that's the kind of things. It's like, well, forget that review. I mean, there's no reason to give this movie a 0.
Right.
And it's had a tough enough time.
Zeros, Chris, is I personally feel is a lot of those reviews aren't even real, or people haven't even seen the movie. They're just jumping on whatever bandwagon. They just want to spread whatever message they want to spread, and they're not even watching the movie.
And that is something that happens, and that's why usually you can see what the score is, and you can see if there's one of these things. Now, the thing is, if a movie's actually really good, this type of thing doesn't even happen. Like The Mandalorian, for instance.
Right.
You have people trying to hate on it, but they're just literally the people trying to get attention by saying they don't like it. That thing's got like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. If somebody wanted to, they could try and organize a campaign against it. Here's the problem. It's too good. People like it too much. It's not going to work. That hate campaign on The Mandalorian. And so when we talk about 2020, that's one of the good things. I think one of the best things out of 2020 was The Mandalorian.
Yes.
And Disney was absolutely lucky. They had Disney Plus already set up. They were already in that avenue. So they were ready to compete when these pandemic lockdowns went into effect. HBO Max is just now getting its crap together. And it's like, by the time they finish it up, God willing, this will be over. You know what I mean? So Disney, though, definitely had a leg up on the competition there. Other than places, obviously Netflix and Amazon were already ready to go, but Disney had The Mandalorian. So when it came to a time when theaters were bare because things are getting pushed back, this was the only $15 million an episode. This was basically a movie experience, and it's something that they're going to be continuing to do, the likes of all their Marvel properties. So coming soon, Marvel and the Winter Soldier miniseries, Loki miniseries, Wanda miniseries. They were already planning on this type of thing, and it's really paying off for them. Massive dividends, I would say.
I want to get
what do you guys think about that?
Speaking of Disney, I want to get your guys' opinion on something. And you brought it up earlier, Chris. Black Widow, should it be a Disney Plus only, or do it like they're doing with Wonder Woman, Disney Plus theaters? What do you guys think about that?
Damon, what do you think?
Personally, I think I take the old school capitalist approach. Put it on everything. You segment the market too much. You're missing too many folks who, for whatever reason, can't have Disney Plus. Who knows? It doesn't matter the reason why, but you're segmenting the market. If the theaters are open, put it in the theater. If you have a competitor, charge them twice. I mean, sure, maybe it's more on that service, less on Disney Plus, but get it out there. If it's truly a great property, share it. Why wouldn't you?
It's too much. It's too much that went into that budget for it just to remain on a shelf.
Exactly.
You got to let that thing be released at some point.
You're 100% correct. That was something I was going to bring up, is that the longer you keep these movies on the shelf, these movies, these blockbuster movies, the way that you make them is you take out a loan to pay the hundreds of millions of dollars that it costs to shoot them, and then you get the return when it hits the theaters and you can pay off the investors. The longer you keep a movie on the shelf, the longer your loan is, outstanding, and that interest starts accruing instantly. So the longer you push back a movie, the less money you're getting off of it. So they are kind of banking. You could see HBO Max's strategy. Hey, we're releasing our entire 2021 slate on HBO Max. How do you get it? You have to sign up for a streaming service. You know why they're doing that? Because they need money. Yeah. And they don't know when people can go back into the movie theaters. We don't know when that's going to be totally fine. We don't know when that's going to be an actual business plan. We do know that people like to sit at home and stream stuff. We can tell by the Mandalorian, that this is a successful thing. People will do it, especially if they have no other options. Don't get me wrong. When it's safe to go back to movie theaters, there are things I want to see in theaters. But for the time being, they're like, we got to start making some money off of these things that we've just got gathering dust that are already cost us $300 million to make, or whatever, $100 million to make.
Yep.
Plus the marketing that we already did way back when, that's now useless because I've made a trailer that compared the Phantom Menace, because I made that custom trailer for Wonder Woman 1984 using their music. And it was so funny because I put them side by side, one underneath the other. And at the end of the Wonder Woman trailer, it says June 2020. And I was like, not even close.
Yeah.
And that's rough. And that's tough. That was one of the things I was really looking for. Dune getting pushed back broke my heart. I was like, no, I really wanted to see that. That got me so hyped. And then they were like, next literally year, like a year. No, we're not just pushing it back out, like a whole year. I was like, no.
Yeah.
So you could see, though, I would say at HBO Max, that's one of the things that they're like is gonna, they were like, we need to get people. So do you think that's going to be as effective, as say Disney Plus? Are as many people going to have HBO Max?
No, I mean, you're passing
Matrix, Dune. I they just buy it and then get rid of the subscription. What do you think?
As we mentioned earlier, they have if they want to make money, you go to everybody else. You want to show our property? Give me money. Then they license it. It's how movies get distributed around. I hate it when I have to go to a movie theater because that's the only one that gets to show it. Well, that's the one without the comfy seats and good popcorn. I want to go to the other one. Give people the choice. They'll pay. Then you make your money.
I just say release
that amount.
I'm there with Damon in terms of let it be released wherever you can have it released. If they're worried about the money factor, charge a premium on the online. If people want to see it, they'll pay that premium for the online. Like, for example, Black Widow. Everybody who knows me, I love Gal Gadot and I love Scarlett Johansson. I will pay that premium for Black Widow because she's one of my favorite actresses, and I bet you a lot of other folks would too.
And release it 2 weeks early on your platform, then release it to everybody else.
Right.
There's the enticement. You love them, you'll pay the money, you're there. The people who are, I want to see it, they'll wait the 2 weeks and still pay money.
Yep.
And the real focus should be, hopefully this brings a focus back on making the best product that you can, making it something that's worth going to see, because we are talking about a market that got pretty saturated as far as the film business, and for as much as it's being gobbled up and Disney's taking over Fox and Marvel and Star Wars, and adding gems to that infinity gauntlet of conglomerization. So there's that, but there are still competitors, more so now in the streaming way, and we saw that Amazon is getting some award-winning stuff, and they had that Lord of the Rings series coming. Speaking of stuff coming up, that's a big franchise player that we haven't seen in a while. I want to look ahead to that, but I also want to take a minute. First of all, the Geek and I comments that they said there's only so many times the public can get their hype up, only be told to wait another 2 months. And that's true. I mean, like, you have the trailer that came out, you're actually getting pumped for it, the day's almost there, and then it gets, sent back another couple weeks. And then you enjoy things like the actual Mandalorian, like Wonder Woman was so long, I almost didn't even realize it was coming out until like I was like, oh.
Now you guys
record on that. It's actually out.
1984 was the original release date.
and you guys talk about you guys are just talking about the productions themselves. Go back and look at some of these trailers. We're still looking for a Spider-Man trailer. We were told it will be out Christmas. Didn't come out Christmas. Now the shoot date is 2021. So we just even trailers are on the same schedule as movies, waiting and waiting and waiting.
And the rumor mill was something that was plentiful in 2020. What shut down, what's filming, what's going to air when, what's being pushed back to when, who's doing what. As far as like actual news though, let's take a look. One thing that actually did go well in 2020 was the GNN website, and that, if I can make it full screen over here, look at that. This website, back in September, even when I joined GNN, was just bare script.
Yep.
It was informative, but not very pretty. Look at this thing now. We've had that great big website overhaul, geeknewsnow.net. I think it looks beautiful. You can see the most recent comments on everything right over there on the side. The latest news up there at the top. I saw when you shared this one. This was one that I thought was crazy. I was like, this is just a joke, right?
Dave's gonna get it. Dave's gonna get it.
Well, I was like, new gaming console, KFC. I was like, it's got to be just a meme, right? I was like, somebody made a meme. I was like, no,
it's real. It's real. Yeah. No, it has everything except the graphics card. But it can't heat your chicken too.
Built and designed by Cooler Master. Yeah, they teamed up into the real thing. I was amazed because I clicked on this article. I was like, is this just gonna be a gag article? And then they're like, no, here are the specifications on this machine that will keep your chicken warm while you play video games. I was like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's just so. It makes me wonder, like, does KFC have too much money that this is like something that they were like, hey, let's do that, like, or like, what's Wendy's gonna do next? Because you know how these things.
It's gonna translate to somebody else.
Wendy's like, we built a toaster for our square patty.
Inside one of those toaster pop things,
and it's cool with a frosty. We have a frosty.
That thing is crazy, man. It's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. But we also, I think another thing that happened, so many people passed away.
Oh man. So in that regard, 2020 has sucked. And we've seen it in more than just worlds of entertainment. We've seen it in sports. We've seen it even in pro wrestling. We lost an up-and-coming wrestler last night. 2020 in that regard has just completely sucked.
And it looks like that's something that's not just going to end with a Happy New Year. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately something that we're going to see throughout until obviously some sort of COVID solution is actually a solution.
Yes.
So 2020 is a dumpster fire. Look at this.
It is. He's right. It is.
Too much.
Dumpster fire. Exactly. But another thing I wanted to bring this up about the website too. Another thing about the website that I like, you can sign up. And when you sign up for email alerts, it sends you the newest stories right to your email box. You also get that as well. I like that.
Yeah, you can really specify. You could say, I want it all, or you could say, I just care about Star Wars. I don't care about Star Trek. Don't send me anything about Star Trek.
Yep.
and I understand that.
Love that.
And then, you know, it's so funny because like I'm more of a Star Wars fan than Star Trek fan, and even with that, so much of Star Wars recently has just made me. I'm just gonna say like upset. You know, I haven't been until this past year. Everything that happened, I've been making those Mandalorian videos and loving it, and then like, oh my gosh, the way they finished that off, and that's the kind of thing that's like, hey, do you want to like make me believe in the franchise? That Investors Day. Okay, so they reintroduced Boba Fett. They have their Investors Day, and then they like bring back Luke Skywalker in a way that all the fans love. And they're just so that's another company being like, please give us your money. And I'm like, now, well, if you keep doing stuff like this, okay.
Get that picture of five. Please shut up, take my money.
Exactly. Yes. Shut up.
Yep.
Take my money.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So what was there anything besides like the Mandalorian? Like what was your favorite thing? Like tell me what you guys
favorite things if we go back to the summer was Bill and Ted 3.
Bill and Ted.
Decades for this movie, and I mean it came out, it was right in the middle of the height of all the craziness of the dumpster fire. Most people didn't even know it existed.
I forgot to watch it. I still need to watch it. Don't worry about spoilers. We're past the point. I don't care.
They're past that point. Yeah.
I don't mind generally anyway.
That movie, I mean, it is a solid B+ movie. If you go into it don't expecting anything more than two crazy dudes and how do they finally solve the world's problems, then spoiler alert, they don't.
I thought one of my favorite things about 2020 was the way the Arrowverse showed up and ended. I thought they were very, very strong both at the CW with what they did for what it is. I give Legends of Tomorrow a bunch of crap, but in reality, they finished off strong, even though I don't like the always comedic overtones because I think Legends roster of heroes is just too strong to keep doing comedy. Let's see some action. Let's see some adventure there. See some stronger storylines. But you saw Flash finish up well. You saw Supergirl finish up well. Only thing you could really say that was bad was Batgirl. And she's being redone. So, and from what everybody's telling me, the new season is looking fantastic. So I think the Arrowverse outside of Batwoman really finished well.
Now, as far as that's concerned, I stopped watching some of that stuff. I started when Arrow started. That's when I started watching, and I kept up with the Flash for a while, probably up until like the first or second season of Legends of Tomorrow. I haven't been watching since then, but you just made me think maybe that's something I could binge in the near when I'm looking for something to. So it's where they come. Were they having problems? Would you say before this past year?
Legends
it's better now.
I think the Arrowverse stepped up. That's, like I said, other than Batwoman, who just suffered from bad writing, and I've never been a Ruby Rose fan, but. Other than Legends being comedic and the bad writing, the Batwoman, Black Lightning was good, Supergirl was good, Flash was good. So yes, I got some strong points there, and most of that stuff I believe you can watch on Netflix. Stargirl, I think, is on HBO Max too.
Right, Stargirl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were some things that got moved around. I mean, again, when you talk about things getting shaken up and tumultuous stuff, people have been buying out different people. Like HBO Max is now like in charge of all of DC's properties. So that used to be like what they had the DC
season 3 of Titans would be there.
That's where everything's going. Yeah,
everything's going there.
Including like the animated movies, which is where I gotta say for the past like decade, DC has been making killer animated shows. Like as good as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in theaters for live action, like I'm like, oh my gosh, when I realized I'd missed several of them and I was like watching Dark Apocalypse War, and I was just like, holy crap, this is that was super cool.
Yes.
And so for that reason and those type of things, I'm like, that is something. Marvel gets so much hype nowadays, deserved in most cases, don't get me wrong, but DC hasn't had a lot to like really crow about other than Joker. Like Aquaman was good, but it wasn't like mind shattering.
Right.
I enjoyed Shazam, but it wasn't also like, you know, it wasn't. It's not the MCU, which is what they were trying to be for so long. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I thought Wonder Woman again. Not to, no spoilers, but it seemed like they were having more fun with it. Like there were jokes, more like it was brighter in some. Even though like a lot of, you know, certainly there was the dark subject matter of certain parts, but she smiled so much, and like there were so many happy, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And it reminded me of some of the back in the day, the Justice League cartoon. It made me think of that episode actually where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig.
Oh yeah,
there was like magic and chaos and craziness going on. And I was like, this is really cool. That's a side also of Wonder Woman that you don't think about as much, but there is a heavy mystical side to that side, and I love that was brought forth in this movie.
Yes,
and again, a movie that was supposed to come out in June got pushed back so far. Again, one of the tragedies of 2020 made it so difficult for this movie, and now it's getting hate just because of loose political parody, really.
Yes, let the hate go, guys. Let the hate go.
Yeah, just enjoy the movie for what it is. Go back to that thing where you use it for escapism and think.
There you go.
A little bit more of that.
There you go.
Just check the science, check the politics. Like,
check it at the door.
Book in the first place.
Yes.
That's this is going to watch Wonder Woman for that same reason.
And I will say that they do get heavy-handed sometimes. Not Wonder Woman, but like there are valid complaints about certain movies that it's like this was just heavy-handed and bullcrap. This is like a parody at best, and really just a different character. If people are making the Pedro Pascal Trump comparison, you've seen it. It's very obvious. You can tell from the
Wonder Woman franchise at its entirety. Look back at the '80s show and look at how parody that show was with what's happening and of other superhero stuff of the time.
And I say she portrays the character very well because look at the similarities between Gal Gadot and Linda Carter. If you go back and you watch that movie, even the way she, and I don't want to spoil anything, but even the way she dressed is just like Linda Carter was dressing back in the day. So she portrays the character very well.
You know what?
That was also
Mandalorian works. All the technology is that stuff from the 70s. Those big, square, bulky monitors that you really can't see. I love that.
I just started binging that. So I'm gonna be finished within a couple of days here.
Yeah, that is one of the great things. It makes you really feel like you're in that Star Wars universe. And like the different technologies of like different ships, like yes, some things have holograms, but also some don't. Like it was made by somebody else. They have a screen with crabby stuff. This guy has this. It's some of it's interchangeable, and that's why it's so funny that the Empire stuff is the most like universal, but it's also crappiest because it's like mass produced. But at the same time, every time they go to an Imperial base in that show, it's just like watching Luke run around on the Death Star. Like it makes you feel like you're there, and that sort of feeling is what was missing, I think, from like some of the, and honestly, even in things like Rogue One, which is one of the ones from Disney pre-Mandalorian that I enjoyed the most, and that was mostly because of like the space battles and the dogfights and Vader, obviously. But one of the places where it really missed was like when it did that nostalgia bait, and it was very obvious when they're on Jeddah and they walk by Panda Baba and the guy who's like, he's got a death set, my friend doesn't like you, who gets in the fight with Obi-Wan and Luke on Tatooine, which happens like a day later, and that town also gets destroyed. So it's like they bump into them. It's like it makes no sense. They just threw it in to be like, recognize those guys? Good.
Yeah.
It's like, boo, don't do that. But like, for a reason, because it's a good story.
What was that?
I said, put the cheesy mustaches on the X-Wing pilots, and we're there.
And that was also true. They said for Rogue One, they said, let's give the actors that we're bringing in to shoot new stuff, because they actually, some of those scenes were from like
original Star Wars.
Yeah, A New Hope and stuff that wasn't actually used. And so they shot new stuff to go with that. And so they said, make sure that you've got like the sideburns and like the 70s haircuts, so like you kind of look like the other people that you're going to be alongside of. So like the fashion matches up and stuff like that. That kind of attention to detail is great. Yeah,
it is.
It's finding that balance of like heart, passion about like, you know, the products. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of that on the horizon. Disney's Investors Day, they've been leading up to it with The Mandalorian, releasing a lot of different stuff. And then they say like how many different Star Wars projects. Kenobi we all knew about, but like Rogue Squadron.
One of the best things of 2020, and if we're talking about The Mandalorian, like the ultimate Easter egg. At the end of those credits, like, come on, that was hands down.
I just started binging The Mandalorian, but I did see one of my favorites. I saw all her scenes. Sasha Banks for the WWE is in The Mandalorian, and I thought that was cool.
And she's probably going to be featured even more next season. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it looks like the future of The Mandalorian is going to be much more focused on The Mandalorian and Mandalorians themselves.
Yes, bring her back. Bring her back.
I think they definitely will, because I was reading an interview where Jon Favreau was just mentioning how he even found her, and she was like, "I'm just nervous to be here on Star Wars," and da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, "We're shooting this. We can do multiple takes. You do stuff live. You wrestle people live."
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you worried about?
What are you worried about, man?
You can even edit that good. You know, we got camera over there, camera over here.
Exactly. We got different angles we can edit this at.
I will say that's another thing I like about The Mandalorian, because we've seen like a lot of Disney and different, you know, girl power moments recently, like in the Avengers Endgame. Girl power.
I'm glad you brought that up, because me and Dave talked about this some months ago. Female empowerment was a huge theme for 2020. If you go back and you look at it, and in some cases, I think that's fantastic. You see a lot of characters get run that normally wouldn't get run. Wasp, for example, who would ever think she would get that much attention in a movie? The way she started out in the comics, Ant-Man and the Wasp. There you go. Avengers, there you go. Let's go on the anime side of things. Ruby has taken off big time for Rooster Teeth. This is what is 8th season now. If you look at Wonder Woman, if you look at Elizabeth Olsen over in Scarlet Witch, female empowerment was a huge thing in is a huge thing in 2020. I think it's going to continue in 2021.
I just hope that we see it more like we got in The Mandalorian, and less like actually we got an Endgame. I thought that scene kind of like stood out. It was very obvious. They were like, because, you know, there makes no sense for them to just all suddenly be in that area. It took me out of the movie.
One scene.
Yeah, it took me out.
Scene.
that was, you know what I mean? That's heavy-handed. Now, as opposed to the last episode of The Mandalorian, the team that ends up going in is very heavily female, but it doesn't feel like forced. They're kicking ass, but also it makes sense because they're actually badass women. Like, these women are actually badass in real life. Gina Carano fought MMA. When she punches people and does moves and stuff, even though sometimes I'm thinking to myself, why don't you just use a blaster, you idiot?
Right.
the moves actually look like she could pull it off, though.
Rifle butt is far more effective. You know,
it's just so funny. I'm like, you have a gun.
Yeah. And the other thing with, you know, just talking about the casting with the women empowerment, the casting seems real. I can look at these ladies picking up stormtroopers or whatever, toss them around and go, there is 100%. This isn't WWE. This is
right.
I'm cheering for them. I want to see everybody on that Mandalorian crew get through. And it's
You could have made a case in Avengers. Scarlet Witch was going to one-shot Thanos. You could have made that case, and you would have been dead on. You could. Oh boy.
That brings up something that also got pushed back. I think was Wanda and when is that?
Yes, WandaVision. Yes, WandaVision got pushed back. I think till January.
See, that's another thing. Speaking of things that like might have happened in 2020 and now got pushed back, I'm pretty sure WandaVision is going to be something that blows some doors off of the MCU. Possibly even this could be where they're putting in the first hints of actually bringing in, now that they have Fox, the mutants, reality powers conflicting. We know Scarlet Witch has literally in the comics, she has insane levels of like reality bending powers.
And she teased that in a commercial. She teased that, and it's like she held up on paper, written on paper, no more mutants. But she herself, as she was holding up the paper, was doing this. That was so cool.
And that's pretty. If you're familiar with the comics at all, you know that she actually
did it.
Got rid of all the. So if she's capable of doing that in the comics, maybe she's capable of bringing them into. Not to mention, it's followed almost immediately by things like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which she's also going to be in, and the crazy reports of the things that we've heard everything under the sun about Spider-Man 3.
Everything
rumors about
everything, man. Everything's been rumored about that show. One of my
favorite memes I saw and I shared. It was like Tim Allen is reprising his role as Santa Claus for Spider-Man 3, just because they're like everybody. So I don't know. Do you? I feel like William, you've actually followed Spider-Man a little bit closer. Who do we actually have? Some people that are confirmed, other than Tom Holland.
And I'm shocked about this. And it seemed to be Andrew Garfield is confirmed for this. Now Tobey Maguire might be a different story. He's going through some issues. But it seems to me Andrew Garfield is confirmed for this. And that kind of shocked me because he was sort of kind of mistreated by Marvel back in the day. So for him to come back, that's a huge step. And if you get Tobey Maguire back, then everything is good to go.
And so about that, we don't really have any idea what the plot for that movie is. We still don't have a trailer, right? Like we're still wondering who's even going to be in it, let alone
still looking for a trailer. Still looking for a freaking trailer.
Daredevil. I've heard many rumors about him. Is he supposed to also?
He's going to be Matt Murdock. I doubt if you see him as Daredevil. He's going to supposedly help Peter Parker win his case. And also you're looking at, if Tobey Maguire comes through, him and Andrew Garfield are rumored to be cameos toward the end of the movie because they don't want to leave the Tom Holland story untold. So that's the rumor. Also, there's some rumors out there saying you're going to see Electro and Doc Ock, and that's just gonna tease another series. That's just gonna tease the Sinister Six. That's all that's gonna do is tease the Sinister Six. So if we could get a trailer, get all this stuff out there confirmed, it could be this movie right here, and people just look at me kind of crazy when I say this. It could be life changing because it brings so much to it that can affect the MCU down the line.
Well, I guess my question then is, because I know Disney bought Fox, so now they can do Fantastic Four. Like that's on that. We've seen that like on the docket tease. We don't know what it's going to be again, but like they're saying it's happening. We haven't seen them tease any mutant stuff other than no mutants, and that to me just almost basically confirms what I said earlier.
Something.
You did see the New Mutants get teased a little bit. You did see them get teased a little bit, but I don't know if that ever got released or not. I'm not sure.
I mean, so far, like we haven't seen like an X-Man in the MCU. So like, we're all wondering. And Deadpool, that's the one I'm even almost nervous about. Like, because I love Deadpool. I love what they've done.
Who doesn't love Deadpool? Yeah, Everyone loves Deadpool.
That's not true. I definitely been with the people. They're like, I don't like him, so I didn't care. Yeah,
really?
There's one dude. I forget who I was talking about. Yeah, he's like, I like X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I didn't care about that version of Deadpool because I don't like Deadpool, so that didn't bother me. And I was just like, well, if you do like Deadpool, then you know that that's a travesty, and that's why they included it as a gag in the Deadpool movie itself. And then things went sideways in the worst way possible. Well, maybe not the worst way. That level of humor and the stuff. Well, that's actually, that wasn't the MCU, but he broke between the Marvel X-Men, between the X-Men universes when he was in like his second movie, and he's like, well, where the heck is McAvoy and like all those other guys that closed the door on him. So that's another place like he's one of the characters that can like break walls and do that kind of thing.
Break the fourth wall.
Break the fourth wall. He's self-aware. So he's like, wait, Disney's writing us now? That's gonna fucking suck. Something like that.
And then to make it so bad, Ryan Reynolds, from what I understand, is also trying to cut back his Green Lantern, bruh.
That would be hilarious. The only reason why he would do that though is because they're gonna do him justice this time.
They should. I hope they do.
Back to that. He would not come back to that character otherwise. But like that's one of the things, because we were talking about Spider-Man and like the possibilities of who's going to be in that. That's something else that DC has been working up to this Flash movie. Everyone wants to see one of everyone's favorite. If you watch the DC animated movies, Flashpoint Paradox. Mick, yeah, bro, freaking awesome.
Yes.
Alternate version Batman, who's his father, and he's drunk and he uses guns. And
yes. No, the best part about that is when, and I hate to say this part, but to me, it's one of the best parts, when Wonder Woman lassos Captain Marvel or Captain Thunder, I think his name was in that one, and makes him tell the truth of what he is and how this is not your form. And then when he says the magic words, he turns back. Bruh, come on. Cyborg died in that. It was just Superman wasn't Superman. No, he was nowhere near Superman. Batman with a gun. I mean, it definitely makes you second guess time travel. Definitely makes you second guess that. Man, that was a good movie.
Another thing that's coming into play, since we're talking about like the Flash movie and stuff like that, we're talking about the DC expanded universe or the cinematic universe, the Snyder Cut. What is that going to change as opposed to what we saw in theaters? Is that going to have more of the Flash, more of that time travel? Because no one knows what the new footage is yet. It's supposed to add some additional footage to the movie, but no one knows what it is yet. And is that, when we see that, is that going to like change things so drastically that it's just setting up something entirely new, or it's just setting up the Flash to set up a Flashpoint Paradox that then puts us into the multiverse? Because we already know about the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, which is not part of the Zack Snyder universe at all. It's a different Earth, which is cool. They're opening up that, hey, we can tell different stories with different ways. They don't necessarily have to be like the MCU, one 10-year-long story. You know what I mean? Like there's other spin-offs and one-shots and things, which I think MCU is also coming to terms with and starting to do. They're both trying to set up multiverses. This is what it looks like to me. What do you guys think about that? Damon, what do you think about the future of DC and Marvel?
I totally agree. I mean, like we've had the big long runs before. It's time for something different. And this one here, what it does, it opens it up where you have from the studio side a lot more shelter if something goes wrong.
Yep.
Okay, the fans don't like this. Okay, we're not. Okay, yeah. Ooh, bad timeline. We can fix it in this movie. We'll jump over to this timeline. So it allows that. It gives the ability for the writers to tell the stories they want to tell. They're not just stuck in a master script. I mean, it's the problem that Star Wars has. Everybody wants it in a master script and not have the different universes. But I think from the comic book side, from both Marvel and DC, it's the strength. I mean, like, how many times have we seen comic books throughout the years that are just different? You hold two in your same hand, and buy them on the same day with two totally different universes.
Yep.
Comic books are supposed to be. Personally, I like it going that way. I'm going to watch more of them because of this.
Variety. It's not just a cookie cutter Marvel movie to set up the next cookie cutter Marvel movie. It can be, it's like you said with different comics, you get a different illustrator and a different writer. You basically, it could be the same character, but just shown in a whole new way, a way that you haven't seen before. And that makes things exciting. That's variety. Variety is the spice of life.
And that's how you keep a franchise or property going from decade to decade to decade, is tell different stories with the same character.
And they saw how successful it can be. Literally, don't do things in that same style. Don't make a $250 million movie. Make a Joker.
Yeah.
how much less did that cost, and how much more is your return? You think that businessmen didn't notice that? You know, like they're like, we can make how much more off of these if we only do what? And it's like, but the thing is, that's not gonna work for every single character.
No. And so
you have to find
blockbuster characters to be a blockbuster, and it allows the other characters to have movies that actually make sense. You know, there's some characters that don't make sense to be in a blockbuster movie. Why would they be there? They never were in their comic. There's eight people in the comic. Why is this happening?
Right.
And you're not then forced to market it.
Yeah.
As, you know, if you can make a movie with less money for a character that doesn't require a special effects smorgasbord, if you're able to do that and tell the story,
or take the same money and be able to spread that story else, you can get it better. So we can get the miniseries from.
Right.
100%. I'm looking forward to a lot of those miniseries. That's something that you know, Marvel's been just doing for like the past 10 years. They built us, you know, go to the theaters, do that type of thing. You really haven't had. The only thing that comes even close were just the Netflix, but those were just shows.
Right. But if you look at the timeline of Marvel, some of those Netflix shows are within that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Netflix shows acknowledge the movies, but the movies never really acknowledge the shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is how they just kept it safe. That way, like, if you had never seen the Netflix shows and you were going to see the next Avengers movie, that was okay. Like, it wasn't going to matter, because there is that worry that's like, if we have this over here and this over here and this over here and that over here, am I going to even understand the next thing if I haven't seen any of that stuff? So that's another challenge, is like, how do I make this appeal to a wide group of people? But if you have enough people just interested in the general idea, which now you do, of like these superhero movies, you can branch off, do different types of stories. And then you will, of course, have the people that are going to be like, this isn't like the Avengers. And it's like, exactly.
But one of the things, if you have more variety, then people are, I mean, like, if everything is the same and it changes, like, pick your favorite fast food joint, doesn't matter, go there, and if that burger is changed, you're going to be up at that counter going, what's going on? But the point is that you've got all these different fast food restaurants you can go to and get different burgers. The more variety there is, the more accepting the public will become, the more accepting the fan base will become, because it's not something, oh, wait, what is this? Freak me out kind of thing.
And that's true, especially, well, that's the whole thing about, you know, that they've been learning, I think, when they've been trying to do some of these reboots or trying to do some of these repackaging, rebranding type thing, like the new Star Wars trilogy. They wanted to just be able to say, we've got Star Wars now and we can do whatever we want. And clearly that didn't quite work. The same thing happened with like the Ghostbusters reboot. They were like, we're doing Ghostbusters. We're doing it our way. And people were like, here's the problem though. You're just slapping the name on it and you're expecting me to buy it just because, but it's not the thing that it's claiming to be.
Right.
And I'm not stupid. And then you see what happens. And then what happens after those failures or missteps, however you want to call it. You can like whatever you want, but like, what happens when they look at the numbers? We have a new Ghostbusters movie coming out that actually pays homage to the originals and looks like it's more of a, we have new Star Wars coming out, like the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, things that actually pay homage to the original. Here's a crazy thought. These crazy people have been buying this product for the past 40 years.
Yep.
Should we maybe give them more of the product that they love? Yes, we should. Like, that's basic business. That's, you know, either give it to them or make it better if you can. But don't say, here's this new product, here's something different, but here's the brand name that we've packaged on it. Now pay us extra money because we're, you know, and also if you don't like it, we're gonna make fun of you. Like, there was so much that happened recently with, like,
I just think it's funny throughout the past few years that when you look at something that started, they brought out a new iteration, but recently it's like you said, it went back full circle. Look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Started out as something else, brought out as something else again, and again, but now you circle back and it's turning back to what the original is. So you see a lot of that nowadays, and I get it, because fans aren't buying the reiterations of what you're trying to sell. We want to be more back into the original, more into the throwback of things, and that's where we're gonna spend our money.
Oh yeah.
And if you can, you might get new fans with something like that. But the whole point of slapping that brand name on there is that you get the original fans. So like,
exactly,
if you're gonna be doing that, you should actually. And Jon Favreau wrote like a whole letter about that to basically like the Star Wars community, and he talks about like you have to be understanding of the fact that there's fans who have been there for decades, and you have to be able to like do new things. But the new things that you're doing has to be respectful of where you've came from. Because if you don't know where you've come from, then you don't know the rules. You don't know you'll make mistakes and you don't even realize it. And people are going to be like, well, how could you not know this? You can't light speed ram. That makes 5 other movies idiotic. Why is anyone doing what they're doing in space battles if you could do that? And then in the next movie, you're just like, well, it was a 1 in a million shot. It's like, you have droids and nav computers that make 1 in a million shots all the time. That's not enough.
The Solo storyline is a 1 in a million shot.
Oh God, such a mess. And you see how maybe not how easy it is. Like people were like, well, you just don't like anything then. They could never do anything to please you. And the Mandalorian just shoots that argument in the face. There's no way we can satisfy both the new and the old audiences. And Jon Favreau is like, I made Iron Man and Elf. I'll make Star Wars.
And we're all like, can we just have some more of that, please?
Yeah.
And Disney is like, yes. I'm pretty sure that was the point of their Investors Day. Because before this,
they were going, wait, quiet.
It was the slowdown. Yeah. That was the whole thing from Disney. It was like after the Last Jedi and Solo, they were like, we're going to slow down. Bob Iger, back when he was chairman, he was like, the buck stops with me now. Like, I'm the last decision and I take the blame. And this is what we're going to do. And now, like, the chair people have changed. The, stuff that they're back in the day, there was a Kenobi movie and a Boba Fett movie. Remember that? Yeah, that all got like, they were like, let's change our gears here. Rev people up with the Mandalorian, actually have that set up 2 or 3 spinoffs just by itself.
Yeah.
Since people actually are enjoying it. We've got that from season 1. Season 2 is basically tons of setups. Half those episodes are setups. A, for the next season of The Mandalorian, of course. Yeah. B, Boba Fett. C, possible Luke spinoff. C, Rogue Squadron. I don't even know when that's taking place. D, and all these other things. People are like, I've been enjoying The Mandalorian. Wait, I get more of that level of quality, of that level of fan respect, knowledge. Of I can watch every episode and be like, oh my gosh, that's from this era of, oh my gosh, that's that droid. I love that, and it makes sense that he's on Tatooine because that's R5 and like, yeah. and not like on Jeddah for some reason a day before the planet's about to explode. It's like, no, it makes sense where they are and what they're doing.
Like, how fast is hyperspace now? But yeah.
Here's what bummed me out. The only thing the main thing that bummed me about the Disney announcements for Star Wars, I was like, come on, such an opportunity. Pod racing.
Oh man.
Maybe after Rogue Squadron comes out and we get a new Rogue Squadron video game. I was talking to my brother about that.
Cross your fingers on that.
I know. Well, I was talking to my brother about that because it was like, what got me excited. Oh, a Rogue Squadron movie. And then B, wait a minute. Maybe a new Rogue Squadron video game.
There's only one game.
Yep, just one. Just one. Mm-hmm. Hey, did you get a chance to play Cyberpunk 2077?
I haven't played that, no.
Yeah. What, my son, my son Hunter, he's in the gaming group. He played it. He loved it. But it also came with a lot of bugs. And my son was lucky to play it on PC. But people who have it on PS4, people who have it on older systems, the Steam, they're getting their money back because there's so many bugs in the game. And now they're offering refunds for it. As long as you haven't done this, as long as you meet the conditions, you get your money back for it. But yet and still, Bethesda keeps to hitting us with this game here, patches here.
Yeah, right there. It was like, you got it there. Yeah, I know some folks, and they were like so excited, and then a couple of them got the game, and they were like ready to throw their consoles right. No.
Yep.
Consoles did seem to have the much worse end of it.
Yeah.
Because like I know PC, and now because it'll shut down some consoles. Is that right? Like it'll
Yes.
actually, and that's bad. Like, because it's one thing to have glitches. Like I played Skyrim when that came out, and I was like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it's
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glitching through things. I'm even still to this day, it's not a perfect, but so in that respect, and that's what I had heard about this game. Now, albeit that person who told me that was playing on a PC.
Yeah.
So
they still have their issues. It's not perfect.
Yeah, but it's still like if it's like a Bethesda game level of bugs.
Yeah.
But it's also like a Skyrim level game. I don't even care about those bugs. I'm there for it. I'm that. Yeah. But the thing is, if you're shutting down
consoles, man,
that's a different level of
and it's long, and then it's just like poof, and you're like, whoa, yeah.
And they're saying it's not going to be bugged. They won't really have a finished game until February,
if we're lucky.
If we're lucky. Mm-hmm.
And then, because that's like what? How do you release a game that will shut down your console in this day and age? Like that's actually a legitimate question I'm asking now. Like back in the day with the Red Ring of Death, there was only so many things you could do. But this, is this something you can solve with a patch?
I think the reason the game got released is due to the fan pressure. This game has been in development for quite some time, and now they wanted it to be released. They wanted to play it, so I think the fans are kind of pressured the development team to go ahead and release it.
And I think they thought they could fix what glitches came in just a series of small patches. Everything would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings, whatever.
Exactly.
The what was happening wasn't working, but some of the stuff I was reading, like their testing teams were on systems that were way more capable than the average person is going to have.
Yep.
So I mean.
And that's pretty foolish. You should be testing it for the lowest. I mean, you should be doing both, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. You should. You should. You should.
So you can say like this is the minimum requirement, and I would hope a minimum. One of the consoles that you've released is going to meet the minimum requirements for the game.
Put it on a platform that doesn't work.
To me, I wouldn't have released it for the consoles as if I would have waited to 2021 and to release it for the consoles. But if you have a good PC, 32 gig of RAM, maybe running a 2060 or 2070, you should be okay.
And I've heard from those people that it's a really enjoyable game.
Yeah,
the people that have been able to play it, it's a great game. That's just the problem, though.
So
can't play it.
Yeah, because the PCs that you have to require to play, some people can't. And with the way PC parts are, they're hard to build.
They're pretty high end, and
hard to build.
Configurations issues. If your PC isn't configured 100% right, the game is just.
If you don't have the drivers and things like that, and there's tons of people that are not technically savvy in that way, and they don't want to have to deal with that. That's why you get a console. I just want to be able to turn it on and play. I got this to play games. This game is shutting down the thing that the only reason I bought this $500 machine. You're gonna have some frustrated people. That's for dang sure.
I know. I would be mad. I know I'll be mad.
Yeah. I love it. Look what he just said.
And it also will warm the chicken as you play.
The great thing about running such a graphically intensive game is that instead of shutting down our system, it actually heats up your chicken. One of the craziest things to come out of 2020.
Crazy, man. The whole year's just been crazy. I'll be glad when it's done and over with. I really will be. Almost there. Man.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to 2021. Our YouTube here has been flying this past month. We're on the up and up. I know you've been getting some more subs over on yours, which is great as well.
Sir.
Geek and I is starting to get those up there too. I'm trying to do more about sharing and making because you guys are putting on great shows yourself. And I'm just trying to emulate you with this one. In the future for this show, it is going to be a little bit more organized, but who knows? It's been a crazy. It's still 2020, so it counts as the dumpster fire.
Therefore, it's a success. The properties we've been waiting for. We said we were going to do it. We did it.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep, we did.
We held up our end of the deal, and
yes,
the stream isn't shutting down anyone's computer or console. So.
Everybody's computer is still in one piece. It's still
all right. You're going to be able to watch this live stream a week later after we release some patches.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Oh man.
So we just hit an hour. I think we've covered a lot. I'm willing to, unless you guys have anything specifically you want to talk about before we get out of here.
Personally, I'm really excited for 2021. I mean, we're on a roller coaster, and no matter what, we got to be getting momentum by now. So I think this will be great. I'm looking really forward to all the stuff that we're going to be doing on the website and on our channels. I'm looking forward to my podcast that's going to be coming up. Looking forward to the Geek and I and stuff that you guys are doing. It's just exciting.
I am looking forward to 2021. We got a lot coming on the horizon with Disney Plus and the Marvel shows. We got the Scarlet Witch coming down. We got Bucky and the Winter Soldier. Hopefully Black Widow will be released in 2021. So we got a lot to look forward to. Also looking to see and do more shows on my podcast, the Geek Gauntlet. And please just have a better year in 2021 than in 2020.
Yeah, I think we're all desperately hoping for that, praying for that, even if you're not the religious type. Oh, great atheismo.
I know, right?
Please have mercy.
Yes. Yes.
But I can't wait to move past it, get back out there. I want to start going to like some conventions and some movies and getting out there and interacting with people in person and not wearing a mask just because this is the way and not because.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. You said conventions. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there to those two. Anime Weekend in Atlanta should be hitting in September, I want to say. That's like 2 hours away from me. So I'll definitely take the time off to work to go see that. Yeah, get out there to the conventions and let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to be hitting the Victoria Expo if it happens later in 2021, the Vancouver one, possibly the Seattle one. See if the border opens up, maybe.
That would be great.
It might.
And you want to go there and, take pictures, take videos, and then let's get together and talk about it all and look at those pictures and videos and talk to the people that are there. Hopefully we're going to keep growing and we're going to have more people in our audience. And then we can say, where do you want us to go? And what do you want us to do? And what questions do you want me to ask Tobey Maguire when I meet him? And it's
Anime Weekend in Atlanta gives you a chance to cosplay as some of your favorite characters. And thinking like a gala ball or something to that effect. I'll be going as Piccolo if it happens. So, that'd be awesome.
I'm a Deadpool man myself. I'm excited. I want to get out there. It's so much fun.
Oh man.
I brought that to the first Deadpool movie when I went to see that, and at the end of the movie, I put it on, and I stood out and started walking out, and normal people were there. It wasn't just hardcore. So everyone was like, "Oh my god, look at that guy! It's
Deadpool! Deadpool!"
I was like, "Thank goodness, this is so much better."
Let me get autograph. Did
the mask muffling my voice? So anyway. That's something to look forward to in the next year. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it all. You can always find me and Damon and actually William here on the Geek News Now channel. William, the Geek Gauntlet is, we repost all of his episodes here. His own YouTube is also in the description, so you can watch them live if you want to watch him when he goes live.
Thank you, sir.
Check the description below, and you can find it there. And also, if you're just on the Geek News Now or the Geek News Now YouTube page, there's a featured channel section. He is the William Morgan Media, and that's where you can find the Geek Gauntlet if you want to watch them live or catch up on old episodes. And Damon, of course, is making his videos on Geek News Now. Fet's Vet was great. That one's been getting a lot of action, and that's a classic video from back in the day.
Yeah.
Boy, that was using they made the video for that using Star Wars Galaxies footage.
Something strange. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that was back in the day. That was like the first Star Wars MMO. If you're familiar with like Knights of the Old Republic MMO, this was way before that. Yeah, way before that.
Wow.
That Fet's Vet video took me back. I had to look up the original song too. Good Lord, there's a fly in here. He's trying to get on my camera. Anyway, help me. Jeff Goldblum.
Help me.
That is it for us here at Geek News Now live. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be trying to be back every week, but I'm not exactly sure on the schedule yet. So make sure you've liked and subscribed and rang the bell so you get notifications when we're doing stuff, because it's a lot of fun, as you can tell. We'll see you next time. Have a great new year, everyone. I hope you guys had a great year for as bad as it was. Have a great new one.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Bam.